Good morning, class. Today we start chapter 6 in history, the age of the Guptas. I want you to turn to page number 58 and please bring your pencils. Now in this chapter the syllabus includes the sources. From where do we get to know about the administration and the conquests of the Guptas? It is from the accounts of Fahin, a Chinese pilgrim who visited India during the reign of Chandragupta II. Then we learn the same about from Allahabad pillar inscription. Now what all we are learning about is political history and administration, Samudragupta and Chandragupta Vikramaditya, contribution to the fields of education, that is the Nalanda University, science, Aryabhat and culture, the works of Kalidas and Deogarh temple. Now coming to the first paragraph, the period of about 2 centuries from early 4th century AD is known as the imperial age of the Guptas. During this period, India made progress in the field of education, science and culture. The period is also known as the classical age or the golden age of Indian history. Now please, whatever you see underlined, please make sure you underline. Wherever I have written the meanings of certain words, you need to copy them so that when you are doing individual study, it will be easier for you to understand certain things. Now the main sources of information about the Guptas are the following. Accounts of Fahin. Fahin was the earliest Chinese pilgrim who visited India on a religious mission during the reign of Chandragupta II. During his stay in India, he went on a pilgrimage to Mathura, Kannauj, Kapilavastu, Kushinagar, Vaishali, Patliputra, Kashi and Rajgriha and made careful observations about the conditions at that time without resorting to any bias. Now according to Fahin's accounts, why without any bias? Because he was not swayed by the king who was ruling at that time. He wrote the truth, the facts. Now coming to according to Fahin's accounts, Magad was a prosperous country with large towns teeming with wealthy population. Patliputra was a flourishing city with numerous charitable institutions, including a hospital endowed by benevolent, kind citizens. Although the people were wealthy, they led simple lives, generally observing the Buddhist rules of conduct. So simple living and high thinking, that was the motto of the people during the Gupta age. Vaishnavism, Shaivism, Buddhism and Jainism were the main religions. So the people of the kingdom, they followed these religions, but mainly the kings were Buddhist. People, however, had no ill will towards other sects. Hindu gods and goddesses were depicted on coins and also in sculptures and paintings. The penal code was mild. The punishment was mild and the offences were ordinarily punished by fines only. From the above accounts, it can be inferred is concluded that the Gupta empire was prosperous and governed on enlightened principles, that they knew what they were talking about. Rules were not made to harass a certain section of the society. They were made to bring about the welfare of the entire kingdom. Now coming to the Allahabad pillar inscription or Prayag Prashasti. It is one of the important epigraphic evidences of the imperial Guptas. Composed by Hari Sen, the court poet of Samudragupta, Allahabad pillar inscription, also known as Prayag Prashasti, is written in praise of Samudragupta. Now here, when we talk about Fahin and we talk about the Allahabad pillar inscription, then see, Samudragupta was the ruling king at that time, and it only talks about his glory, glorifies Samudragupta, whereas Fahin only gave the facts about what he saw. Arguably the most powerful of the Gupta rulers, it describes the reign of the Guptas in ancient India. Besides, it provides an impressive list of kings and tribal republics that were conquered by Samudragupta. So the entire history, his conquest his administration, everything is inscribed over there. The inscription is also important because of the political geography of India, that it indicates by naming the different kings and peoples who populated India in the first half of the 4th century AD. So when we are learning about, from the Allahabad pillar inscription, when we are learning about the conquests of Samudragupta, then we also learn that this particular king was defeated by Samudragupta to the west of the kingdom, east of the kingdom. So we get a fairly good idea of what was going on during the ancient India at that time. Now, over here an excerpt from the Prayag Prashasti is given over there, children. I will not, I have written the meanings over here for you. So it is just for your information. Please read it on your own. I'll focus it for a few seconds over here so that you can copy down the meanings. And this is not something which I need to explain. So this you can self-study also. Now going to reign of Gupta period. The history of the first two rulers of the Gupta dynasty, that is Shrigupta and his son Ghatotkacha, is obscure, known. So it is believed that the Gupta era originated with the reign of Chandragupta I. Now Chandragupta I was the first independent king with the title of Maharaja-Dhiraj, or the King of Kings. So he took on that title when he became powerful, and he had annexed a lot of kingdoms, so he gave himself the title of Maharaja-Dhiraj. After declaring his independence in Magadh, Chandragupta I extended his empire through matrimonial alliance by marrying a Lichvi princess, Kumar Devi. So please underline whatever you see underlined. Now coming to the most important king of the Gupta period, that is Samudragupta. He was the son of Chandragupta I. Much of the information about him is obtained from the Allahabad pillar inscription composed by his court poet Hari Sen. He was a great conqueror and able statesman, as well as a patron of arts. His empire extended from Brahmaputra in the east to rivers Yamuna and Chambal in the west, and from Himalayas in the north to Narmada in the south. See, the extension of the empire during Samudragupta is very important. Please underline that. It is because of his bravery and generalship that he is known as the Napoleon of India. He further extended his empire up to the Chambal river by defeating the Naga kings of Mathura, Gwalior and Achyatra. Like Alexander, he was daring. During his famous Deccan campaign, he covered more than 3,000 miles through dense forests. Though he defeated many powerful rulers, he did not annex southern territories. He did not attach them to his kingdom. He made the southern kings accept his authority and allowed them to rule. So that way he was quite, his foresight told him that he will not be on his own, he will not be able to manage such a vast kingdom. So in spite of defeating these southern kings, he let them rule their own kings. He just proved to them and to everybody that he was the most powerful king of the times. Now the Allahabad pillar inscription of Samudragupta describes 4 different kinds of rulers and tells us about Samudragupta's policies towards them. So during his reign, he came across 4 different kinds of rulers, and to show how important they were in making the empire or extending the empire to such an extent, the poet has written over there, inscribed on the pillar, the policies which Samudragupta took towards them. Now the 9 rulers of Aryavart were uprooted and their kingdoms were made a part of Samudragupta's empire. So the first is the 9 rulers of Aryavart. The 12 rulers of Dakshinpath. Dakshinpath is South India. Before we go to the next page, children, this is the Allahabad pillar. Okay. Now the 12 rulers of Dakshinpath, South India, who surrendered to Samudragupta after being defeated, were liberated and allowed to rule again over their kingdom. So Aryavart, then we have the Dakshinpath, then the inner circle of neighboring states including Assam, coastal Bengal, Nepal and a number of Gan Sanghans, that is, organization of many kings in the northwest paid tribute, followed his orders, and attended his court. So, these people also, though maybe they were not annexed by him or defeated by him, but they paid tribute to him and they were under his protection. And they followed his orders, and when demanded by Samudragupta, they did attend his court. Now, the rulers of the outlying areas submitted to him and offered their daughters in marriage. Now, the kings or the rulers who were not very powerful, so what they did was they offered their daughters or sisters in marriage to Samudragupta, so to form an alliance. Now, according to Samudragupta's court poet Hari Sen, Samudragupta performed an Ashwamedh Yagna or horse sacrifice. Samudragupta was not only a brave warrior and conqueror but also a great ruler, a musician and a poet. Now children, the Ashwamedh Yagna during the ancient times and the medieval times was not performed by normally all the kings. It was performed only by kings who thought and who were actually very powerful, and they had a huge army and they had the potential to defeat the kingdoms through which the horse passed. In one of his coins, he is shown playing the veena. Samudragupta issued 8 types of coins made of gold. His court was full of great scholars and literary persons. So, this is the rounded personality of Samudragupta. He was an able ruler, a musician. He patronized artists, and he had the foresight to issue different types of coins, that too made of gold. So that you can very well understand how rich the kingdom was during Samudragupta's time, that everybody was dealing in gold. There were no copper coins or bronze coins as such. His court was full of great scholars and literary persons. Samudragupta was a follower of Brahmanism and worshipped Lord Vishnu. So, he was a Hindu. He did not follow Buddhism. He also had faith in Vedic sacrifices, but he was tolerant towards other religions. But he did not harass the people who followed different religions like Shaivism or Buddhism or Jainism. So now children, Chandragupta II, I'll take it up in the next video. As of now, I want you to go through the accounts of Fahin and the inscriptions of the Allahabad pillar, the reign of Gupta period. I want you especially to read the excerpt from the Prayag Prashasti. I want you to learn about Chandragupta, the extent of his empire, Samudragupta, the extent of his empire, and the policies towards the 4 different kinds of rulers with whom Samudragupta had dealt. Anything which you have not understood, please note it down something and we will take it up later when you come to school. Stay safe, stay blessed. Thank you.